Herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Folge im Beautypreneur Podcast. Heute habe ich wieder einen ganz besonderen Gast für euch und zwar meinen internationalen Freund Leeron, der sich selber was ganz, ganz Tolles in der Beautybranche auch aufgebaut hat. Er hat nämlich sein Business in Miami und in Dubai, in der Dubai Mall, hat verschiedene Shops und eben auch Salons und heute werde ich ihn auch interviewen und ihn fragen, wie er in die Beautybranche gestartet ist, was seine Reise auch konkret beinhaltet hat und wie er seine erste Million auch gemacht hat. Das Besondere an dem heutigen Podcast ist, dass es eben mal nicht auf Deutsch sein wird, sondern eben auf Englisch. Also ich hoffe, ihr werdet das auch alle verstehen und ich freue mich auf jeden Fall, wenn ihr mit dabei seid.
Nice to see you. That was very fascinating to hear.
Yeah, could you hear anything?
German accent. I mean, to me, it seemed a little bit also with an Arabic twist. I don't know if it's because you're here for a while in Dubai.
Yeah, maybe it could be. Maybe the Arabic comes through a bit.
Of like some, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'm really happy that you're here with me today. Usually we wanted to do it today, but there was a new business opportunity coming up for you, so we reschedule it to today. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm really happy to talk about your story, and also my followers, my community were really interested in a podcast with you, so I'm really happy that we're here, and thank you so much for joining. And yeah, maybe you can introduce yourself first.
Okay, so I'm Leeron. I was born in the U.S. I was born in New York. Mm-hmm. I am 35, almost 36 in just a little bit more than 2 months.
Yeah.
And I have a dual citizenship, Israeli-American, Jewish, businessman. I'm just trying to think about all my different identities.
You have so many
hats. The man of many hats. So, yeah.
So what are you doing?
I would define myself as a world traveler businessman.
Yeah, that's
probably would be a right definition.
Yeah, but you're also in the beauty industry. We can call it like that, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay, so maybe you can tell a bit more about that. So you also have a shop in Dubai Mall, but you started everything in the US. So can you tell my audience what exactly you're doing in Miami and Dubai?
It's a funny story. The story goes back to like probably 13 years ago. Mm-hmm. I was 22, just got out of the military.
So is it also normal that you have to attend the military as a young guy?
It's a mandatory thing in Israel where I grew up.
Yeah.
And, after the military, everybody wants to kind of break the rules, go travel.
Yeah.
Some people go to South America, some people go to the East. I decided to go to South America, so I was there for 6 months. I did traveling. Mm-hmm. Which was amazing. I recommend to anybody that could just take a pause of 6 months and travel the world.
Yeah, I guess especially when you're really young.
When you're young, you kind of have that window because later on it's kind of, nowadays I wouldn't be able to take off 2-3 weeks in a row. But after that, I mean, that was very close to the States, and I had my American passport since I was born in the States. So I decided to go to work for a company that at the time offered me a job. Being a U.S. citizen, they offered me to work as a salesperson in cosmetics. Mm-hmm. Now, that would...
But do you have a sales background, or it was just
so back then, zero sales background.
Okay.
And
zero beauty industry.
Zero beauty industry, zero intention into entertaining or entering the beauty industry.
Okay.
But for some reason, I don't know, I heard that's like big money. And I mean, 22-year-old, they were providing you like a car, a house, accommodation, everything.
Wow.
I don't know if you know those like Dead Sea salt in the malls where you scrub your hands. And I mean, a lot of people think of it as like a low-class type of business or something with a lower name. But back then... you know what? I was 22. They offered you free living.
So you also started with 22?
I was like, you know what? I'll just go for a month or two, travel in the States, and, whatever happens.
Just figure it out.
That's it.
Okay.
That happened to not happen because ultimately I ended up staying 13 years. It was very, very different from what I thought. It was very surprising in a sense. I mean, on my first day, I was able to sell $1,000 worth of sea salts.
Really? Okay, but how did you start it? They trained you in like being a salesperson, or you just figured it out by yourself?
So they were like training, basic training, I would say. There were people that were doing better, people doing less better, but you wouldn't think, I don't know, like buffing a nail, nail buffer and sea salt, but you'd be surprised. That's $30, $60, and I would like sell those like cupcakes within the first week, then the second week.
Okay, but was it like a shop for you, like
beauty? It was a cart.
Okay.
Being a 22-year-old standing on that cart from 10 a.m. till 9 p.m. But I made good money. I mean, that was back then.
Okay.
I don't know,
so you got a commission, or you had like a basic salary, or
so it was only commission. They gave you the house, they gave you the car. It was only commission. That was only commission.
So how much commission you get from the products back then?
So they were doing back then, I think it was, I don't know, then they changed it, was 20, 25%, 30.
From the product price.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And then you sold a lot.
It was hustling. It was just hustling, like $1,000 a day worth of, imagine just how many sea salts you have to sell and make $1,000.
To make $1,000,
sales. So that
Can
was
you remember how much the sea salt was?
It was like $30. $30, $60, something like that. Yeah.
So you get like $6 in the end, the commission.
Right.
Yeah. So you have to sell a lot of sea salt.
I'm telling you, back then, now I'm thinking how I even done that. I would never do that again. Back then, that was something, and taking $300 home per day.
Yeah.
At 22.
Yeah.
That was like
$10,000
per month. That was a lot
of
money for me. I didn't know anybody
my
age making that kind of money back home.
Yeah.
So that was...
So you saw that money is coming in, and then you could sell that to people, and you were like, okay, I have to keep going. I have to improve my sales skills, or how did you feel at that time?
Money runs the world, and it kind of like... navigates you at the end. I had plans prior to that. Yeah. Totally different. I was supposed to go to school. I was supposed to study. I was actually signed up for electrical engineering at university. Yeah.
You signed up for that, and then you're selling sea salt.
And my parents used to call me, when are you coming back home? When are you coming back home? Okay, come on. We got it already. You know how to do that thing. You've done it for 2 months. It was a long trip. There was a 6 months before in South America, and then total of 8 months. Okay. And I don't know, they just kept convincing me, oh, you're so good at it, you're selling, just stay. So after 2 months, they came up with this offer, we'll make you a sales trainer. Okay. So I was only 2 months in the company, was already like breaking the records. I think I won some prize of like over 100 employees in 20-something different states and all the Simon malls in America. Amazing. So they...
But did you always
offering me like a position back then?
Yeah. Did you felt like it's easy for you to sell something? Was it like a passion that was inside of you, or you just felt like, okay, I have to hustle, I need to get that money in?
At the beginning, I was like, at the beginning, I didn't even think about it. I just enjoyed the process. I think when you're like coming money hungry and you just want to make money, it doesn't come your way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't like. I wasn't really tight with money when I came. I had a little bit of savings from the military service because I was like doing extra years in the Army. I was a paratrooper, so they paid well. But then when I did that trip, I wasn't really, I needed money, but I was really enjoying the process. I was like going every day to the mall, just singing and talking to people, interacting, socializing. For me, it was like an experience of like, wow, I'm coming to America after like 20 years or whatever. Because I left when I was very young. I was born in New York, but I left at 5 years old.
Okay.
So it's like 17 years later, I'm coming back. And to me, it's like bringing all the memories, interacting with people. So that was... For me, that's what I enjoyed the most. Just being social, interacting with people, talking to customers, developing a conversation in English.
So you were always
charming the older women.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's what it was. I really enjoyed it. I felt like I was on a stage.
Yeah.
I felt like I'm performing on the stage and they're my audience.
Yeah,
that's how I looked at it.
It's like performing in the end.
That's how I looked at it.
Yeah.
Because you have to be somewhat kind of... an extrovert when it comes to.
I just wanted to say,
when it comes to sales, because you can't just like, okay, hi, can I show you something, ma'am? You want to try this?
I would say not like, just in general in sales.
Just
when
no,
you
thank
have,
you.
when you have a business, you have to talk to people. You have to engage with people.
And you're going to hear no most of the time.
Sure,
you're going to hear no
definitely.
99% of the time, and then you just have to keep going for that 1% where you hear that yes, and that yes gives you another
big push
tank for another 100 no's, which ultimately would lead you for another yes and another yes.
Yeah, that's also really important to talk about the failures as well. So before you sold like this many products, you had like a lot of failures as well, right?
It took time, and I could tell you that, I mean, it could take a week, a month, three months. It didn't matter to me, you know. I was I like to succeed. You know, you have to have that kind of winning mentality in a sense.
100%.
And some people would take longer. Some people would take. I've seen in my life people that, I mean, even in that job, there were people that didn't sell anything for the first 3 months, and then they ended up sticking. Some of them did, but some of them that ended up sticking to that, they were ultimately successful. So,
so
you know, everybody has just a different timeline, but as long
100%.
as you don't give up,
that's the most important thing.
That's the most important thing, because then the only difference between a person who ends up succeeding or not, that they kept trying one extra time. So
definitely. So you sold a lot. So they asked you for a sales trainer
after like 2 months,
position.
come on and be our sales trainer. And I was like in shock, but I mean, I couldn't refuse, because it was a basic salary. The job included like traveling all over the country. So that's an opportunity of traveling between 40 different states.
Amazing.
So you get to travel
the
world.
So they had like different branches as well?
They had back then they had a branch almost in every Simon Mall in America. So there was like states like Alabama, Mississippi, Indiana. You wouldn't like even imagine going there. Like people know about New York, Vegas, Miami. Then I ended up seeing the whole country.
Okay, amazing.
That's what I'm saying, world traveler, businessman. That's how it kind of developed.
Started young already.
A lot of people are saying you get to travel so much and do all this thing. So the way it started is just because this job allowed me to kind of like work, make money, and keep moving between locations I would never, ever, ever imagine.
Yeah. So it was like a dream
every 2 weeks.
True.
Yeah, every 2 weeks. And imagine when you're a sales trainer, so they have the build up. Okay, Leeron is coming next week.
And
I want you all to listen to him.
Yeah.
And he's going to give you the tips on how to sell. So when I was already at that stage, I used to come to the location, say in Alabama or in, I don't know, Indiana or even in Florida. And people would like sit and would listen with notebooks. And more than just the money making, I feel like it's just fills you up where you're getting that sort of recognition in any type of work you will 100%. Do. In any type
you need that, Yeah. We as humans, we really need to get that appreciation from 100%. Outside. I mean, you can't feed your ego through that. It's also really important to don't seek that humble. Validation.
It is important to stay humble, but 100%. I think that every person is kind of seeking, even if he doesn't say it out loud, we all like seek for validation. Some sort of recognition. And it was never about the money for me, to be honest with you. And I think it shouldn't be about the money. It should be about success, accomplishment, and you know,
fulfillment.
Yes, when you're 100%. Getting fulfilled and self-fulfillment, then obviously everything comes, because whatever we feel, we broadcast outside. I'm a big believer in that.
Yes.
And then when that happens, then good things coming our way, including money.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So you've been then a sales trainer in the whole US.
So that whole thing was only the first year. So I was literally a salesperson for the first 2 months, then right away trainer for another year. And after that year, 1.4, I would say, finished, I think it was about Christmas time. They were like, it was right before actually study started, like, school year, starting in October. And Christmas time was around the corner. And they were like, okay, you're staying another year. I was like, no, I'm signed up for studies. I can't stay another year. So and my parents are like, you kept delaying already 1 year. You're not going to delay the next year. Because I was signed up for school and paid for tuition.
Oh, okay.
I already paid for tuition for university. And that was the top university in Israel, Tel Aviv University. So like, you know, I remember my brother was like telling me like, give me your admission. Spot. Yeah. People are trying, you have to understand, people are trying to get accepted to those institutes. And sometimes people have to pay 3 times more money to go to a private institute because the government institutes didn't provide them with like a tuition coverage. So those government schools, which are good, if you had good grades, they would give you either tuition or they would accept you easier. And I just took all that and threw it to the garbage. And for many years, for me, it was hard to kind of like face myself and say, you know what, it's okay.
Yeah.
I was looking at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I'm not going to have a degree. I'm not going to have a degree. This A student in school that got all straight A's, geek. All my life I was a geek. I'm not going to have a degree. I'm not going to go to school.
Yeah.
Like, what's the matter with me? And I'm going to throw all that for working in a mall, standing in a cart all day and bugging people for... That seemed very low image to me.
Yeah, but I guess because also these are the society standards also, like you have to go to university, you have to get a nice job, but no one asks you what's really your passion, what fulfills you. And especially, I guess also your parents, of course, they want to see your study and to be proud of you, but because that's a social standard.
If I were to go back and think about what was back then, because, it's been already many years, but the thing is that society expects from you a certain thing and not necessarily always knows what's your inner passion or inner mission.
Yes.
And I think we don't even know what's our inner mission
and
as we
when
start
we're that young.
And as we go through experiences, and that's why it's very important to have as many experiences at a younger age. Travel the world. I'm a big believer in that. Explore, discover what you want, what makes you happy.
Yes.
Because when you're happy and fulfilled, you're going to be the best at whatever you do.
100%.
If you are like not, for example, I got accepted to electrical engineer, but at the time I was like, okay, I'm going to sit in front of a computer all day. Yeah. I'm not passionate about that.
And maybe you get a lot of money, but what's the purpose on that?
I used to look at the, going backwards. I actually ended up leaving America and going back to Israel to school to study. And I did do that ultimately. They couldn't convince me to stay.
Okay.
Yeah. And I remember that at my first month in school, I was, looking to my right, to my left. There was 18 years old at the time. I was already 23, 4. A little late. They were like, right away. They didn't do that, what I did.
Yes.
And they were like, what are you doing here?
You're so old already.
No, not about that. Like, what are you doing here? You were just in America and you were working at a job of your dreams, traveling, making all that money. I was like, what do you mean? But that's like not the purpose of life. That's not like that's not my mission. I need to study and I need to do this degree and I don't know, and have a real job.
Yeah, because you were brainwashed like that
right,
already.
And they were like, yeah, but I mean, why are you here? I was asking them and they were like, oh, I want to go to Apple or Google or work for those companies. And the top salary there was like 20,000 shekels, which is like dirhams, $5,000 a month.
Okay, $5,000.
And I was like, okay, $5,000 a month.
I make already more.
I already make 15.
Yeah.
And that's not even my passion.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. It's not for the money. It's not for the passion because I'm not, either unless you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or you have a passion, for a certain profession. You want to go and treat people, save people's lives, or then I don't think people should go nowadays to school without a purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, we live in an era where there's information all over the internet. You could just study and study.
Everything you want.
You could just, if you know how to be self-disciplined and close yourself in a room for like a few hours a day. Yeah. You could choose a topic that interests you and study it and pick it up and develop a new skill set instantly. Yeah. Going to university and spending 4 years and learning all this curriculum that's not necessarily suited for your mission or your journey is not necessarily going to help you. It might give you tools if you needed that, if you need to learn how to learn. But a lot of people didn't need that. And today it's funny because I'm looking backwards on some of my friends that are actually quitting their jobs that they studied for 4 or 5 years and they're looking to be entrepreneurs. So in a sense, I feel today, okay, you know what? I was right on my decision back then of leaving my country and going, traveling abroad, exploring. I feel like the experience we pick up throughout the day-to-day actions is way stronger and you learn way more. than in school. And today 100%. I was completely able to like, okay, you know what? I don't have a degree. And if you'll ask me, I started and I quit. And I'm not ashamed to say that.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. I mean, when you're a young person, like you said, you're figuring your life out, you're figuring yourself out. You just need to find what really fulfills you. And of course, at that stage, you don't know if it's really your way and if everything is right, but you have to follow your intuition and your gut feeling as well. So what does feel right for you?
Thanks God I did back then. Yeah. So after that,
you had that.
I quit.
You quit
university after 3 months. Yeah.
Okay.
Once, not even a semester.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what you did after that?
I was home all the time instead of like watching the school homework, watching houses. I was looking into buying houses in Florida. At the time, it was 2016. I bought my first house from the savings I've had, from that job.
Yes.
Because I quit that job. Remember, I mean, even though I was making money.
So you had nothing at that stage? You didn't have university? You didn't have the sales job anymore?
I had $200,000.
Okay,
which made me feel,
After buying the house?
No. That's all I had. I went back, started school with $200,000. Okay. And the idea was to put that into work, buying a house, collecting $1,000, $2,000 in rent every month. And, at the time, that was like it's 7,000-8,000 dirhams, shekels. Yeah. It's not a bad income to have. Yeah. Like, I mean, as a student.
Yeah, of course.
So, so that was my plan, but it didn't end up being the plan. I quit school. And I started actually, once I bought my first house, I started getting interested in real estate.
Okay. Yeah. So you started your real estate journey then? Yeah.
So I started my real estate journey. I partnered with another guy that used to work with me in that company back then. And we used to go back and forwards with the States. Buying homes for investors back home. Yeah, that's what we did back then.
Okay, amazing. And how did you get back into the beauty industry?
Right.
Because
so going back into the beauty industry, because that's the topic of the podcast.
That's the topic we need to.
Right? We need to stick
I mean,
to
real
it.
estate is also, of course, like investing your money and everything. It's also a really nice topic, but we're here for the beauty part.
So I kind of skipped some parts because we were running, but back before I went to school, I quit that company. I said, let's go back to that point. I actually had a girlfriend at the time, and we decided to open a location by ourselves. So that was my first business, actually, in the cosmetic industry.
Your own business.
My own business. Yes. So yeah, I took my girlfriend. I had 2 workers there, and I flew to Chicago. You would ask me why Chicago out of the blue, but I actually checked a few states, and I found out that Chicago was a good state. There was some few malls that I liked, and I opened like one little cart. Then another one, and that was like a whole year in Chicago till we got really cold, and then we decided to move out of there, and then I moved back to school. But going back to everything, after I quit the school and the real estate and everything, I did that for a while, and then ultimately I came across another opportunity in Florida. Okay. And that starts kind of my I would say, recent chapter, which is the Florida, which you were saying, Florida and Dubai. 2017, I opened my first cosmetic shop in Miami.
So it was just for cosmetic products?
It was just for cosmetic product, like a skincare line.
Yes.
I had an opportunity at the time to open a shop in a very famous avenue in Miami, in South Beach. I don't know if some of your viewers would know, Lincoln Road. Which is a very touristic area. At the time, it was very, very busy. So that was a shop. That was the first time I had a whole shop. I think the rent was like $25,000 a month.
Wow,
which
that's crazy.
Was a little bit of risk for me at the time. It wasn't my league at the time.
Yeah. But I would say in US it's like normal prices maybe, but when you hear that prices
no, I wouldn't say it's necessarily normal. These are like prime locations, Mona. These are like I mean, later on, I'll go on with my story. Then I was in Manhattan and 6th Avenue and other prime locations. But I guess at some point I just figured I have to take that jump and just jump into the water.
Of course,
and see
you have to risk something.
Feel what it feels like. You know? Yeah. So
you got that prime location
I
for
got
like
that prime location,
25,000.
I think it was. I mean, it was an opportunity because there was this shop that was already built, and I think a former owner was giving it, had to leave or giving it the lease. So I didn't have to do renovation, all that, but I took the lease of $25,000 and slowly started, finding employees and people that could actually, generate enough income to cover that.
Of course, yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah?
It worked.
Okay.
It
so
worked.
Can you tell us how much money you made, like in this stage with the shop at that time, when you can remember?
It's a very personal question, Mona.
I know, but maybe you can tell us.
It's a very personal question. Right. And I don't think it really matters as far as the numbers.
Yeah.
What matters is more like the way to make it. But I mean, if you really want, at the time that year, it was not that much. It was $300,000 in that shop a year in my pocket.
A year, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that much, but
but it's still like for selling beauty,
it's still
cosmetic.
A lot. Yeah. So I'll tell you what was the key. The key was location. They keep saying it all the time, but once you have the deal, you have the location, the money comes. I don't know how to explain it, but when you have a good product, right? Or you have something good that everybody desires, supply and demand. That's how the world runs.
Yeah, of course.
So people want to shop there. People want to work there. People want to live there. And Miami is a place where everybody was. Everybody is still, and everybody's actually shifting there. So it turned out that that's a market that was at the time
was flowing.
It was a market that was a secondary. New York and LA was always before, but look what's happening right now. Everybody's moving to Miami. We'll talk about Dubai in a second. Everybody's moving to Dubai. So choosing those two markets at that time turned out to be the right decision. When you choose the right location, then everybody wants to have a good life at the end. People want money. They want to go to the beach. They want beautiful women, beautiful men. They want to, work out. They want to see beautiful people around them. They want to look good.
They're really into beauty in general. Yeah.
People just want a good life. And look what's happening right now with all the wars in the world. Nobody wants war. Nobody wants, to deal with all this BS.
Yeah, of course.
Terrible things are happening in our world right now.
Yeah.
And being an international businessman, I get to talk to so many people from so many countries. That's how we met.
Yeah, definitely.
But and it's funny how much we're all the same. We all just want the same. We just want a good life.
And you have to understand when is the right time for something.
Right.
Also, you have to risk at the right time. You need to get the momentum when there's like a chance. For example, yesterday you flew to Kuwait, and I was like, okay, we reschedule it. I understand it. So you have to get your priorities straight, and sometimes you just have to jump and take the risk.
That is correct, and you have to know how to identify this and just not be afraid. At the end, it's just a game. I mean, this whole life is a whole game that when we're born, we're circling here for just a little bit. It's very short. This ride goes quick.
100%.
And then we're gone.
We never know
so
when it's on.
There's nothing also to be scared of. I mean, you'll lose money. You'll know how to recover it. I mean,
100%.
You'll go in a relationship. It will be a bad. You'll find a new relationship. I mean, it's very cyclic. Everything here is a cycle.
Of course, you always have to risk something in order to be successful. And relationship-wise, business-wise, whatever. Yeah.
Everything. And when you risk, you get rewarded. And I mean, look, there's also smart risks. When you choose a good location, which you have to emphasize on that. I always emphasize on good locations. So after Miami, that was a very good decision. Then I went into Palm Beach. I don't know if your viewers know, but Palm Beach is like 1 hour north of Miami. That's where Mar-a-Lago is, where our hopefully future president, Donald Trump. I know that some of your viewers might not like him. Maybe they hate me right now for saying that.
I guess they're not really into that.
But I think the world needs now a strong leader right now with all the chaos.
Yeah.
But so I went in that market, and then other markets in America like Aspen, Nantucket. When you follow the right locations, then
But it was always just like selling beauty products, and you were just a reseller, and you sold these products.
Right. It was selling. It was retail, and I'm still, in a sense, in the retail space, in the retail world.
Yeah.
And then there was obviously some. Not everything is roses.
Yeah, sunshine.
Obviously, there were some downhills. So then I opened in New York right before COVID, like I think 2 years before COVID, and you all know how New York did very bad in COVID. And that was I lost there a lot of money. I lost like over I think $400,000 in that one shop in Manhattan, like being in New York, being in the Big Apple.
Yeah.
A lot of time people make a mistake. They do a business decision by a sentiment. They want to be somewhere because it feeds their ego, but not necessarily the numbers made sense or the location makes sense. If the location doesn't make sense, don't do the deal.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, COVID hit. I took a loss. I closed New York. Actually closed Miami. I closed a lot of locations COVID. And
so how many locations you had at your peak?
So prior to COVID, there was 5 or 6 locations across the U.S. Like
and after
prime shops, and prime locations. And after I closed, and I narrowed it down to Palm Beach, where I live today in Palm Beach, Florida. And COVID time, that was where I started looking for other things, other ventures. That was another kind of intersection in my life.
Okay.
So that brings us to Dubai.
Yes. So how did you get to Dubai?
So a friend of mine in 2019 was telling me about it, that this is a booming market. I was always curious kills the cat.
Yeah.
That's one thing that a lot of time it burns to be curious, but
you always have to be open.
What to do.
To check what's going on.
So we flew here, you know.
With your friend?
Here. Yeah, with my friend, and we flew over. At the time, was my American passport. There was no Jewish people, you know. There was after they made the peace, but I was here before that deal was happened. And I was fascinated by the biggest mall of the world, Dubai Mall, biggest mall. So many people in that mall. And I was like, if I could get a retail space in this place, I don't care how much money it will cost me, whatever the rent, whatever they're asking, it's probably worth it. That's what I told to myself.
Okay.
Because I saw the amount of foot traffic. I saw the bags of the Louis Vuitton and Chanel and people buying. I was like, wow,
these
money. People are buying like it's cupcakes.
Yeah, true.
It's something I've never seen before. So I decided that once COVID hit, and if you remember, but most of the world was closed, but Florida was the only place, and Dubai
as well,
that were technically closed for a very short period of time and then reopened to the world. They were the quickest to open.
Yeah.
And at the time, I felt that was the right decision to just, you know, buckle up my seatbelt, take a plane and focus on Dubai and Florida. So I launched a business in Dubai, and I remember back then that I said to myself in COVID that I have to change something. Everybody was thinking what to do because now, like, you know, it's something happening in the world. There's opportunity. Either you take the opportunity 100%. Or either you're not. You know, every time there's a war, every time there's a crisis, it brings new millionaires, new opportunities.
Yeah, 100%.
So I was like, okay, you know what? Whatever I've been doing until now has to change. So either I change the market or I change the business model. At the time, that's what I was feeling because we were all locked and, you know, less people were walking in the avenues and the streets, not a lot of tourism. So I decided I'll do both. I'll go to Dubai and do the same business over there, which is changing of the market. And then in the US, I decided to go into clinics, which is a totally different business model. So I closed, as I told you, most of the shops. I kept just one, and I opened a clinic with like 10 treatment rooms. And
in Florida,
Yeah, like we do facials, Botox, all that kind of stuff in Florida and Palm Beach, which has a very high-end clientele. And since then, I'm focused kind of like on that market in the States, less on the retail side, more clinics there and real estate. And here I discovered a whole new world of opportunities of retail. Because this is a market in Dubai where it's a lot way behind. I feel like this is the States like maybe 15 years back, or I would say, in a sense, a lot of people like to compare Dubai and say this is New York of 1980, where my dad came to New York in 1982, and I was like, everybody was like, wow, and people accumulated real estate and stuff and businesses. So we're actually experiencing it here right now in Dubai.
True, yeah.
And every generation has his opportunity. I feel our generation, this is our metropolitan where we should
Dubai, you mean in general?
Dubai.
Because
Dubai and Miami over there and Dubai here, but but Dubai way more because here you're seeing the whole shift of it's a city of entrepreneurs. You see 100%. That shift where first of all Europe is doing very bad and everybody from Europe is moving right here. Right now, people from Asia. You're even getting the Americans. A lot of Americans do business here.
All the entrepreneurs, I would say, they discovered like Dubai is the hub to be right now.
And as opposed to Miami, Dubai is also labeled as the rich people's city. I mean, Miami too, but I mean, not like Dubai.
Yeah.
So retail-wise, it's crazy, and business-wise in general, it's just crazy to network here. And
100%.
If you're not here yet, you should come here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But so you decided, okay, I want to go to Dubai Mall. So how did you start it? You figure out how to get a spot, or you had a contact there?
As you understand, I was already, carried into without planning, into the beauty business world. So I already had a little bit of knowledge of what I'm doing. I've been doing it for 10 years. So already kind of know how to negotiate with malls and with landlords and how to, make a nice presentation and, present my brand.
Salesperson again,
right.
Of course.
I mean, salesperson, you kind of like say it in a bad way, but salesperson is everything in life.
100%.
We sell
Everyone
every day.
should have that skill
When we're
set.
on a date, we're selling to the other side our personality. And, it's important to stay authentic and genuine to who you are. I mean, don't try to lie or don't try to like bullshit people. But sales is not necessarily trying to show, a lie. It's just trying to point out the good things, the benefits and the good things, and playing your cards smart in your favor in whatever thing in life. And I think it's a very important skill.
100%. You have to sell everything in life in the
end. Yeah, definitely. Without that, they'll burn you alive wherever you go. It's a very tough world today. You have to have those elbows.
True.
It's not a lot of resources out there, and everybody wants the same resources. Remember that. Everybody wants a beautiful car, beautiful woman, beautiful house, a beautiful business, money. Everybody wants the same things. So, yeah. But in Dubai, back to Dubai.
Because we need to. I mean, you have to.
It's an interesting conversation.
You're
asking interesting questions.
But our time is a bit limited, so we have to keep going with the Dubai. Dubai.
So Dubai Mall. That was, I would say, a combination of really going every day. Give me a location. Give me a location. You're talking to people with their nose up. It's like the best mall in the world. They don't just give anybody. But it was also the right time.
So how long it took you from your idea of I want to go to Dubai Mall to really get the shop in Dubai Mall?
It took me 3 months of everyday pounding them, going every day to the management.
But you were pressuring it like every day.
Pressuring every day, like being like right here. The thing is that, it's a combination of really persistency, but also being at the right time. And that has a lot to do with it, being at the right time. It plays a big factor here. That was Corona time, there was opportunities and they were more willing to talk and negotiate. Nowadays, it's way harder to do it here. I'm still trying, but it's not as easy as before, but it's still doable. Yeah.
So what time you got your shop in Dubai, or you got both, like the kiosk you have down in Dubai Mall and the shop as well? You got both at the same time? When was that?
At the same time, yeah.
Okay, when was that?
That was back in 2020.
2020, COVID, okay. Yeah. So, you started that and you also saw the sales and everything. So can you say it's going well? Or how do you feel like?
I think that... when you are working hard and keeping the development of the business and opening, then obviously, as I said again, it's not just for the sake of making more money. But if it wasn't doing well, you wouldn't keep opening stuff because nobody wants, as I said, to lose money. Or you shouldn't be doing something just to say, oh, I own 10 locations. I know people that sometimes open locations just to say, I own locations and I'm powerful, or, just to show off or to brag. But it's doing well, not going into numbers, but it's not the numbers that I used to do back then. So it's bigger numbers, and hopefully we can keep scaling and building the business.
Yeah, I guess it's also really important, even when you're successful, to not stop and say, okay, I'm just going to chill now and doing nothing. You always have to work and keep going and improving.
It's funny, I was just talking about that yesterday with a business partner. In business, they keep moving your cheese. There's that book, Who Moved My Cheese?
Yeah.
It's funny, but it's not like, you just, I acquired my locations, here's my people. now I could sit and watch the money. Like something always happens. They will always now they want to close your location. You have to be creative. Okay, wait, they're going to close this. But okay, a door is closed. These are revolving doors. The door is opening somewhere else. You just have to open your eyes. Where's that next door that you have to open?
100%.
Maybe you have to get on an airplane. Maybe you have to fly another country. Maybe you have to work in multiple markets at the same time. Maybe you have to go and do an online business. Not everything has to be physical. 100%. And never put all your eggs in one basket. Too. But no, business, one thing I learned, and I talked about that with my best friend every day on the phone, we're never going to have that like, okay, now we reached it. We could just go out and be on a boat all day. It's never that. It's always
I guess
about
it will be forever like that, because it's not about the money. It's about to fulfill yourself, to be driven, to leave a...
And dopamine is a liar. In a sense, you're always after adrenaline, dopamine.
And your mind is always running, improving.
You have to have,
what else could I do?
A reason to wake up. You have to, a reason to wake up and a goal. I always look the next goal.
To be honest, for me, it's like sometimes really hard to be like an entrepreneur. You can never switch off your mind.
Never.
It's like it always runs the whole time. You always have new ideas and talk to people. There's always something.
WhatsApp messages by the time we're sitting
Same here. I mean, I have to move in like 2 hours, but we're sitting here and recording the podcast because I said that's my priority as well. And to give that benefit also to other people.
And that's another thing, knowing how to prioritize and manage time. And even sometimes if you feel like, oh, there's so many things running in my head. And I think at any given time, there's like a gazillion things in my head. I learned how to kind of like, even though people can get upset, oh, you didn't answer me, but everybody wants instant answers. Everything wants, but you just shut it off for a second and you're just present in the moment where you are. So say now we're here, I have to give you the 100%. So, later
after that, you can reply to the messages or whatever.
Sometimes it's not easy because in the back of your head that, you're here, but there's something going on other, fronts. But it's a skill you have to develop, even when you're on vacation, even when you're having a drink in a beach club or something, there's something going on.
Especially like in the first period, I would say you really have to shut everything down that's around you, friendships, meeting, vacation, whatever. You just really lock in for some years.
Because maybe people from outside, they say, oh, your life is
fancy
so
life.
nice. Oh, you're always like traveling. You're always like in a beach club or you're always like going out and about.
But they never saw
They never understand the mental stress that you're going through and that you're sitting there with them. And at the same time, there's 80 different channels open that you have to answer and repeat and deal with. But you learn how to do it. You have to.
So you would say you don't regret anything, or is there something? Because I also got a question from a follower, and she asked, is there anything you would do differently today?
Look, there's a lot of things I would do different because we learn from the process. And if we don't learn, and we keep repeating the same mistakes, then
you have to make the mistakes also
we
to
have
learn
to,
from that.
Throughout your journey, you have to know how to learn from a mistake and fix it later and not repeat it. But I don't really regret, because that's what makes you kind of like, build your path in that direction. 100%. And everybody has this kind of script of his life, and we don't know it. There's only God that knows what's the script. He already knows in advance, but we just have to kind of float and
figure it out
and let it direct us in different ways.
And there's always coming like a big stone he's throwing at you.
If you told me 12, 13 years ago that that's what I'll be doing, I would never imagine. I would think that I would be now, I don't know, maybe a lawyer, an accountant, an electrical engineer, or working in a company and actually doing something with the good grades. Because for 12 years, they told you go study. And I studied like a good boy. And eventually, I'm not really using it directly. I'm actually using it indirectly. Because in a sense, you could be a businessman with a certain type of skills or a different type of skills.
Yes, true. So let me check what else. How did he made it? I mean, you just explained your story. So you don't want to talk about the numbers, I can see, or... Can we say a little bit about that? So it's like Miami or Florida still bring in the big checks, or
when
Dubai,
when you're diversified, then it's more obviously stable. When you're diversified between multiple markets.
I mean, you way longer there in the US than you're in Dubai.
It's a 7-figure income, Mona. It's not in the 6-figure.
Okay, 7 figures. Okay, wow, that's really good. So. Okay, so how long it took you to get that successful? Like
that's a question?
Yeah, that was a question. But I mean,
success has stages. It has stages and define success. I mean, like what's successful? Successful is 7-figure, 6-figure, 5-figure, $1 million,
is a peace of mind maybe
what is success?
The success? Yeah.
Success is really in the eyes of whoever defines it.
True,
at the end of the day, it's funny, like when we are aiming to make a certain number that we have in our head and we want to make that number, then we reach that number, we have already by then another number. So we don't even stop to say, wait, thank you.
Yeah, true.
I actually wanted that number and now I'm making that kind of number every month, and I never stop to say, wow, thank you.
Yeah, that's also really important.
And be grateful. Yeah. But should we celebrate stages of success? Absolutely. If we had a goal and we achieved it, we should stop and also
So how do you celebrate your stages of success?
Oh, that's a whole different story.
So every now and then I
don't have it structured.
Yeah. Or when you say when I hit like this
I feel like I have my cherries.
Yeah.
I like to put that cherry implemented along the way, so I know, okay, you do this and this and that, you work now these few weeks, and then after those 3 weeks you're going to go there, or you're going to go there, or you're going to,
But it's
so you
more
have to plant it in advance that here's my goal to work that much or to do that much, because right here above the hill is waiting my little
the cherry
reward.
Yeah,
you have to do that.
It's really important. I never done that when I built my business, but it's really important to always take some rests and to get the cherry and the reward.
You have to. That's not even a
otherwise
a
you're just running the whole time for no reason.
That's not even a privilege. It's something you have to do. It's part of taking your car to the garage and maintaining it. True. Like your body is not a robot. It's a machine. Yeah. It is a machine, and you have to feed that machine and that soul.
And taking care of it.
I do singing. I sing. I like to sing. So a lot of times I just go in a studio and I will record a song.
Yeah.
That's my passion, and soon maybe
really
I'll
good
start publishing that.
Yeah, we can do that as well. I mean, we can
go to the gym if that's your thing, or
it needs to be a balance.
Or go have a massage. I see a lot of businessmen have a massage every week.
Yeah.
Some people think, oh, those people, they don't work; they just go and have a massage and go to the spa. But when your brain works constantly,
you need to switch.
You can get stressed. You can get stressed. You don't want to get a heart attack too. You have to go and you have to.
Yeah.
You have to treat your body physically, emotionally, and give it all what it needs, and mentally, in order to keep your game going.
Amazing. You said that very well.
Yeah.
So what's the plan in the future? Is there anything you have in mind right now, or any steps you want to take? You want to talk about?
The plan in the future, Mona, the plan is first of all to be happy.
Yeah, that's
now
most
the second
important.
step, how do we define happiness? That's a whole different
everyone defines
question.
It differently.
So I feel like we're very dynamic in every phase of our life. Our goals change. What makes us happy changes. And we have to always reassess what's next. So what's now next? If you'll ask me that in a year, I might get a different answer. But for now, I'm focused on Dubai. I'm focused on Florida. Those are my two main markets. Real estate, retail. Actually developing a wholesale product as well. I want to also have my... online presence with a brand and everything, so I'm working on that. Other than that, there's some new locations on the pipe that I would not disclose right now.
Yes, for sure. We have to talk about that off camera.
And then there's this music that I was hinting about. There's this music, there's 8 songs already recorded.
Really? Wow.
So we'll see about that.
Amazing.
There's not enough time.
True. But we have to
make
use
the best out of it.
Time wisely. That's also really important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Leeron, for telling your story. I hope a lot of people get inspired and motivated. And also... thank you so much for your time and for your friendship as well. We know each other now for 2 years.
2 years already.
Yeah, because your employee stopped me. I mean, we didn't say that at all, but your employee stopped me 3 years ago in Dubai Mall.
You became a client and then a friend.
Yes,
and then,
true. And then
that's
1
another
year
big
later.
thing about Dubai. You just meet people from all over the world, and it's so fun to network and brainstorm and
100%.
share ideas. So I am actually honored to be here with you today too, and support you on this venture too.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Amazing. So, ihr Lieben, vielen lieben Dank fürs Zuhören auf jeden Fall. Also ich hoffe, es hat euch inspiriert. Ich hoffe, ihr konntet natürlich auch alles verstehen. Und ich wollte euch einfach mal einen neuen Einblick auch zeigen in, einfach ein bisschen eine andere Seite auch. Und ich freue mich auf jeden Fall, wenn ihr das nächste Mal wieder einschaltet. Und vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen.